Hey guys, it's the Eliminator speaking, and you read the title correctly. Unfortunately, I've made a few mistakes throughout my time on YouTube, and I think now is as good a time as any to address them. Just a side note, before we get started, I'd like to preface that we're getting into some pretty heavy topics here, so anyone who wants to click off or is triggered by anything I say, I'd advise you to leave now. But if you really want to see me at my lowest point, let's begin. Okay, let's drop the act. You all know what day it is. And the controversy? Well, it's more of a personal thing. Something I've been wanting to do for a while now is take a look back at some of the videos that I've made previously and see what I like, dislike, or would change now that I know more. Now, I'm not going to talk about every video I've ever uploaded, not because I think it would take too long, but because there are some videos where I feel like I really did say everything I needed to say or do what I wanted to do with them. So I'm mostly going to talk about the ones that I feel missed the mark. So, with that said, let's get started with the most recent of these videos, that being the Venom special. Not gonna lie, this thing was kinda rushed. Now you're probably wondering, Al, how do you rush a video that's almost half an hour long? Well, to explain that, I need to explain how I edit my videos. You see, how I do it is that I record the voiceover for my videos in chunks. So I'll have a chunk for like the intro, and then I'll have several smaller chunks when talking about the characters and the stories. And once I've put each chunk of voiceover into the editing software, I'll splice it and do whatever I need to make it feel more cohesive. And then I'll edit all the visuals and music around it. However, for the Venom video, I had the smart decision to record all the voiceover first, or most of it at least, and then I decided to edit all the visuals and music. As a result, the work I had to do on the video was a lot more imbalanced, which made the editing process less enjoyable. And worse still, similar to how a lot of movies go through reshoots, there were lines that I had to re-record and things I had to re-edit to fit better with those lines the day of uploading. As a result, the home stretch was basically me scrambling to cobble everything together in time for the Halloween release date, which I almost missed. Because for those who don't know, the video came out at 11:36 at night. And worse still, the video had errors from pretty early on in the creative process. For example, in the characters section, something I talked about is that when Eddie is offered the chance to break into the Life Foundation, he took it without hesitation. In the movie, he actually did it after a lot of consideration, because Eddie was a lot more wary of what he was doing after losing his job. Or how in my proposed rewrite section, I mentioned that Carlton Drake should have had fewer symbiotes, when in the actual movie, he did have a bunch of symbiotes. However, they were all dying off because there were no compatible hosts for them. But otherwise, I'd say I did a pretty alright job with that first Venom video. Expect a video on The Last Dance come June. After that, we've got the Sonic Frontiers video. Now, this one was just more of a slog to get through. Since it was my first time reviewing a video game, it meant I had to add an extra section to talk about the gameplay, which made it a lot weirder for me to do because it meant that it took a lot longer to get to what I usually talk about in my videos, that being the characters and story. Even then, I feel like I didn't really do that good of a job with it. Again, due to my inexperience. Not only that, but I feel like I was very much off the high of playing the game for the first time, so it meant that my opinions were a lot more fresh, and I didn't have as much time to sit on all of my thoughts, especially with how the general consensus on Sonic Frontiers has started to sour in recent years. I mean, I still don't hate the game and everything, but I can definitely see why people don't like it as much. And if you're wondering, no, this didn't deter me from making video game related content. I just hadn't come up with any new interesting ideas, though I do have some more now. After that, we have the Batman. Now, I'd say its biggest weakness is probably all the loose ends I left. In the original video, I had to withhold a bit of information because I was saving it for what was supposed to be a larger climax later down the line. However, I feel like I kind of forgot to pay off all the stuff I withheld, and so it leads to the video sort of having this chunk that's missing from it, at least in my opinion. Admittedly though, it's not unwatchable, so I guess that's a good thing. And last but not least, we have thoughts on the Mario movie parts 2 and 4. Now, with part 2, I'd say my biggest gripe is that it feels like I retreaded a lot of the same ground I did in the first video, except that it took twice as long for me to get a lot of my points across. I mean, yeah, I was covering a lot of this new information, but at the same time, it was in a lot of the same categories that the first video did. Meanwhile, with part 4, I was kind of just burnt out on the whole process. I had made all 4 of those videos back to back. And so I kind of just wanted to get it over with. Not only that, but I kind of padded out the video in the early portion by talking about everything that I had done leading up to the movie's release, as well as bring up the soundtrack. And worse still, it was all for a movie that wasn't even that great to begin with. And so when it came to the actual review, I didn't really have all as much to talk about. Like, anytime I go back to that video, I always kind of skip to the end where I pitch the proposed rewrite for the movie, because of just how interesting it is in comparison. But otherwise, I'd say those are all the videos that I'm dissatisfied with. I mean, if I was to give an honorable mention, it'd probably be the MCU fan cast video, because that was originally supposed to be an April Fool's joke, but I accidentally released it too early. And there's also Eternals. I mean, I know I didn't make the movie, but I just feel like it's a low point in our society. But with that said, let's wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and tell me down in the comments section. Were you actually fooled by the thumbnail? And if so, what did you think I was in trouble for? Also, as a bonus question, what's the best April Fool's joke you've seen someone play or be a victim of, yourself included? As always, subscribe today to join the A-list, and have a happy April Fool's Day. Bye!